Hello, fellow DMs. I'm Alex Plus from Game Blaster Alpha, and in this new video series, we're going to cover The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, a brand new adventure set in the Feywild. In this video, we're going to cover a brief summary of the adventure. We're going to touch on some of the backgrounds available to your players, some of the unique Feywild-themed traits, and then finally, some of the hooks to get your players into the game. Let's take a look. Now, the only way into this domain of delight is through a Fey crossing located at the center of the Witchlight Carnival, a carnival that only comes to town once every 8 years and has just arrived. It's run by two Shader Kai named Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, and it will be your player's job to traverse the carnival, find the crossing, cross over into Prismeer, and stop these hags from their takeover, reinstating Zybilna as the proper ruler of the kingdom. A unique aspect to this adventure is that combat is optional. You can, in fact, finish this entire adventure without combat, using only roleplay and persuasion. I'm excited. Let's get started. The adventure officially starts at the Witchlight Carnival, but you may want to run some establishing scenes, setting up some of the hooks, some of your players' backgrounds, and then have them go to the carnival. That's what I plan on doing. The first phase of the adventure is the Witchlight Carnival, where your players will meet a number of NPCs that link to later chapters. They'll ride some rides, and they'll find the Feywild crossing into Prismeer. Once in Prismeer, they'll traverse through 3 distinct realms, each owned by one of the hag sisters, Hither, Thither, and then Yan. And the adventure culminates at the Palace of Heart's Desire, where they will find Zybilna trapped in time. And if all goes as planned, they'll free her and reinstate her as the true ruler of Prismeer, thus stopping the Hourglass Coven from doing any more damage. Now, leveling up in this adventure could go a few different ways. Of course, if you get into combat, you can award the standard amount of XP. But this adventure is built around the idea that you could overcome almost any encounter without combat at all. And if that's the case, you'll mainly be using Milestone. Your players will gain a level every time they encounter a hag or cross over into the next realm within Prismeer. And then again at the end once they reach the Palace of Heart's Desire. The book says that they level up when they defeat a hag, but defeating a hag and passing into the next realm may be pretty close back to back, so it may be better to stretch that out so that they level up when they encounter the hag, and then again when they pass over. It also says you don't reach 8th level until you free Zybilna, which is essentially the end of the game, and so your players won't really be able to utilize any of those new abilities. I'd say let them level up once they get to the palace, and that way they have a little bit of time to shine at level 8. There are a lot of moving parts in this adventure, and luckily enough they've included a story tracker for us, and so we can log where of the random places the unicorn horn is located, a number of your players' adventure hooks and keep track of those, as well as a lot of the things that you learn throughout the different chapters, the Witchlight Carnival, and each additional chapter after there. This adventure has given us a brand new list of Feywild-themed trinkets. Now, if you haven't seen this, I highly recommend it. A thimble that helps you daydream when worn, wax candle that roars and crackles like a bonfire when lit, an 8-inch long glass ant figure. There are a number of really fun things on this list. We're provided with a couple of backgrounds, actually. One being the Fey Lost, where as a child, you were whisked away to the Feywild for some reason. And then you were brought back, but you never quite forgot. And you always hoped that maybe one day you could return. This background gives your players the option to have a unique mark, a special transformation that may have occurred from being there, such as your skin sparkles in the moonlight, or you have a tail like that of a dog or another animal. You also dream of a specific Feywild visitor every night, whether that's a centaur, a pixie, a satyr, or a unicorn. You also have a special connection with the Feywild, in that the denizens of the Feywild may actually recognize that you've been here before. Very fun. Another background provided is the Witchlight Hand. As a child, you visited the carnival and never left. You actually joined and started to work there and enjoyed it. You actually were whisked away from your original world and never looked back. Although the years have passed and you've worked there and gotten to know everyone who works there as well, a lot of the carnival is still quite a mystery to you, including the two owners, Mr. Witch and Mr. Light. Taking this background suggests that you've become close with one of the other carnival workers, and it provides a list of carnival companions, possibly a retired performer, an old blink dog, or a harmless magical wisp of light. Additionally, because you're part of the carnival, you don't need to buy a ticket. You're allowed free reign of most of the carnival's rides and attractions. With this adventure, we're also provided two new races, that of the fairy, with a list of fey characteristics and traits, as well as the Herringon, a rabbit folk. On top of the new races, this book provides us a list of brand new fey-themed personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. Now on to the adventure hooks. The most interesting being lost things. Possibly your player had visited the Witchlight Carnival before, but didn't pay for a ticket, and because of this, they had something stolen from them. And now you might think, what, a locket or something? No, I mean, it could be anything, but it provides us this neat list of possible things: the ability to smile, handwriting, your sense of direction, 3 inches of height, very unique. Now, the things that were taken from you have actually been converted into some sort of magical item that can be found within Prismeer throughout the adventure. Now, you'll decide who of the 3 hags has possession of each of these things. Having lost whatever it is may have cursed you, and we're provided with a list of minor curses. If Bavlorna has your stuff, you can't light non-magical fires. If Skabatha stole your stuff, you can't tie or untie a non-magical rope. Or if Endelin may have your stuff, you can't open a door without knocking on it first. Very interesting. The other hook is a little bit more traditional. It involves a warlock sending you on a quest. This warlock's name is Madrik Roslov, and he's about to retire. So he's offering his collection of treasure for you to go and find out what happened to his patron. His patron is Zabilna. So he tells you about Prismeer, and that you can reach it somehow through the Witchlight Carnival, and sends you on your way. As Madrik is explaining his missing patron and describing her, you realize that you have a faint memory of her from childhood. And we're given a list of options here. It's possible that a woman matching Zabilna's description gave money to your family so that you never wanted for anything as a child. Possibly you fell into an icy pond as a child and probably would have died had a woman matching Zabilna's description not fished you out of the cold water and wrapped you in a blanket. Maybe, when you were a small child, a woman matching Zabilna's description reunited you with a lost pet. In any case, you have a slight connection to his patron, and when you find her, you'll have a little bit more invested. And that's the basic setup for The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Once this is all established, you send your players to the carnival and have a good time. We'll see you next time for the next video on the carnival itself. I'm going to split it up into a few different sections, one being the NPCs of the Witchlight, the next being the locations of the carnival, that which there are many, and then finally the mood, the time, and the events that happen throughout your time within the Witchlight.